while we're talking about flinters, because a lot of you guys have gotten into the flintlock, this is one of the Pedersoli repos. Oops, there goes my thing. Have you ever dismounted your barrel, Joe? You familiar?
No, it's still brand new. I haven't fired it yet.
What you need, buy or make, you get some of this stuff from Harbor Freight is pretty good. A pin punch. The difference with these things, there's a lug, there's I think 3 or 4 of them soldered on the bottom of the barrel, and they're cross-pinned. They make for a very nice looking weapon, but honestly the removable barrel band is more practical from a functional and maintenance standpoint. But be that as it may, the standard procedure was that you always push the pin out from the lock side and install it from the other side. And what you need to do, get yourself a strip of wood, drill holes in it, and label which pin is which. So as they come out, they go in. And the other thing you want to make sure you do, this end, put this end in the wood first. So you always put the pin in the same way. Don't flip-flop it, because what will happen if you, over time, when you're tacking that pin down, you're going to mushroom the end a little bit. If you flip it and drive through, you're wearing the hole out. So you want it to go in and out the same way each time. You're doing this now too, so it's important for you to remember. And the pins tend to be different lengths. I've found the pins that they come with, they tend to be a little on the skinny side. Over time, if they wear, I wind up going to, I think it's a 6-penny finishing nail. Makes a nice pin. And they're certainly cheap enough and a little bigger, and then you can, like I said, buy or make some kind of a pin punch. You just need to, see that, just push, see mine are getting a little loose. There it is, now it comes. If they're tight, you just grab them with a vice grip and pull them out. And then, like I said, make your block up and label each pin as to where it goes. So, but other than that, it's not rocket science to take these apart. It's just a matter of being organized and thinking. These things, like I said, you have, ooh, that's nasty. Whoa.
They can't get away from you.
No. You pull out the tang screw. You have, that's a barrel pin. That's a barrel pin. And these two. So this has 4 lugs in it. So 4 pins to dismount the barrel. The others are where you see one directly over a pipe. Those are holding the pipes on. If you get into, eventually you do a complete strip down, these things are a lot of, here's a pin here and a pin here that holds the trigger guard, the floor plate for the trigger in there, and there's another cross pin in here which holds the trigger. So you got a fair bit of, yeah, that's the back side of the pin for the trigger, but same thing, get in the habit of always pushing them out the same way and putting them back in. And
Always from the lock side.
They go out from the lock side and in from this side, and don't flip them end for end.
Right.
You start tearing your holes up. As long as you
That's
keep
good
track
stuff,
of
right?
what you're doing.
All right.
Now, it's recommended that you completely dismount the lock twice a year. And I don't know anybody that does that except Bob. Which means that midway through the season, when you're home, never do it out in the field, that you go through what he just said about using the mainspring clamp to take the sear off and the tumbler and dry them, and clean them all up, dust them off with a little steel wool, maybe 4/0 steel wool, and then whatever lubricant, white lithium grease is another one that's recommended, a little dab of that on the bearing surfaces and put it back together. And that'll, I mean, if you do that, your weapon will be working fine for decades.
Yeah, one of the things you guys with the flintlocks might want to do, you make a big deal of calling it tuning the lock, but basically as you get these things from Pedersoli, they have like a black oxide finish on all the internals. You see here where the bottom of the tumbler, you polish that oxide because it's a little rough. Polish it with a very fine emery or crocus, and the same thing on the end of the mainspring. Polish it around it. It'll reduce the friction and give you a little bit of faster lock. And like Dave said, just a tiny dab of grease on there. You don't have to go crazy with lubricant because it's not rotating parts like a car engine. Just a little dab will do you.
Well, you know, while I'm thinking of it, there's one thing that I want to mention. which has happened to me, and I know that it's happened to at least one other member, is that the quality of the reproduction firearms that we buy and use in this hobby is less than all that it could be. And one of the things that's really a major drawback is the ramrods that are provided with all of them. No matter which one, you can spend $1,100 on a Peter Soli, you can spend $800 on an Army Sport. They're all put together with their two-piece construction that are press fit together. They're not designed like the old military weapons were to be used as cleaning rods and ramrods. They're used with the reenactor in mind, who, for the most part, the thing's ornamental.
Yeah.
And I've had instances where I got something stuck, and I didn't know about this years ago. And it was an Enfield, which is a pretty beefy ramrod. And I got a cleaning patch stuck near the bottom. And of course, so this end of the ramrod is sticking out of the muzzle. Luckily for me, it was sticking out about that far. And I had the thing stuck, so I put a vice grip on it. And I was tapping it back, and the freaking front part of the thing came off. But I had enough of the rest of it there that I could get hold of it, and I was able to get the thing out. Otherwise, I would have had to probably take it to the gunsmith. I didn't know Bill at the time, and take the breech plug out to clear the barrel. So there are companies, Lodgewood, and there's another one that I personally like, Butch's Antique Gun Parts, which will sell high-quality one-piece machine ramrods to fit your weapons. And these rods drop right in. This is one of them. I highly recommend that if you're going to use your weapon if you're going to live fire it and you're going to be ramming mini balls down it, or if you want to really get into cleaning with it, that you invest in these things. They're about $40, but you won't have this issue of the thing coming apart. Over the manufacturer. There's one called Butch's Antique Gun Parts.
Yes.
Lodgewood also offers high-quality one-piece rods.
Also, on the subject of the ramrod, after you've been firing this weapon, please do not put a patch and ramrod down a dry barrel. Because you will not get that ramrod out, and Bill and Dave will go crazy. Then a new guy will do it again to me. That'll happen at an event where, Captain, ramrod stuck down the barrel. I said, well, is it dry? Yeah. You can use channel locks on everything imaginable, and it's difficult to get out. If you're going to put a ramrod on patch and make sure there's plenty of water down there. It's a wet patch. Don't ram it down dry, because it's going to get jammed up.
Question. I was going to ask Dave and Bill. Okay, we're in the field. We're at Cedar Creek, in Chamonix. Saturday, you have your battle scenario. What is the minimum cleaning that you would tell all of these people? They might not be able to give it the full works, but what should they do at least when they get back from the battlefield?
You get back from camp.
Yeah.
If you have hot water available.
Yeah.
Flush out the barrel. The first thing you would do would be to put something over the nipple, like that little piece of rubber that Bill's got, or anything that'll, a piece of leather, or even sometimes if it's really tight fitting, the spent cap, just to hold the water back. Put hot water if it can be had, if not, out of your canteen or whatever. Flush the muzzle, flush all the debris out of the barrel until it's coming out reasonably clean. Then run a dry patch down it, a light oil, unless you're going right back into battle. Then don't bother with the oil if you're going right back into battle. And then you really need to clean out the channel. So very carefully you're going to remove the nipple, taking care not to lose it in the tall grass, and clean that, make sure that it's clear, and then the channel between where it screws into the barrel and the flash channel. Q-tips work well, pipe cleaners work well. Put a little bit of cleanings like the ballistol or Hops 9A or whatever, and clean that out till it's clean. And that being done in the battle scenario will more than hold the weapon over until you get home and can dismount it and really clean it well.
Thank you.
That's the way they actually did it back in the old days.